Hi everyone, this is Mr. Campagna. Today we're going to be taking a look at some methods to measure distances in digital imagery. So the title of today's lesson is How Do Microwaves Work? Now, two things you're going to be doing. You're going to explain how a microwave works, and you're going to calculate the speed of light. Now, your teacher has given you this diagram, and you can see here that you have a wave. And the wave has a couple different aspects that we've talked about. For example, the wavelength, which is listed here as lambda. And you have two other things. You have the antinode and the node. The node is where the wave crosses the baseline and has an amplitude of 0, where the antinode has the highest amplitude along the wave. Next, you'll read through this passage and you'll fill in all the missing keywords. And you'll notice under independent work, you're given the inside of a microwave. The microwave heats your food the most at the antinodes, which is where the electromagnetic field vibrates the most. How many nodes are there in the picture to the left? And you can actually just count them out. How many antinodes? And use a centimeter ruler to measure the approximate distance between two antinodes. Now, this raises an interesting problem for us. Everyone has a different sized computer screen or tablet screen. And measuring the distance between 2 points can be problematic because your picture might be larger or smaller than the one that I have on my screen. Now, later in the assignment, they tell us that the image is 14 centimeters across. Let's move ahead a bit and we can come back and we can answer that when we understand how to measure distances on imagery. Wavelength of a microwave oven. Now imagine that your teacher put some grated cheese into the microwave, ran the microwave, and then removed the cheese. A picture of the cheese is on the next slide. There are some areas that were heated and some areas that were unheated. What's the distance between two antinodes in the cheese image? You will need to actually measure this. Here's an online ruler if you need it, and you can click the link to activate it. Remember to measure center to center. For this to work, you will first have to get the entire image to be 14 centimeters across. You may need to copy the image onto a Word document to get it to be the right size. Now, in a separate video, I'm going to explain how to use that online ruler to do the measurements. But first, I'd like to show you how to do the measurements using Google Drawings. So one method to get an accurate measurement of these two spots is to use a program called Google Drawings. So just go to a web browser, type in Google Drawings, and this is a free application brought to you by Google. Very simple to use, very intuitive. Now, the first step is to get our image into the application. So how do we do that? Well, probably the easiest way is to go to the Google Slides that has your image, click on it, and hit Control-C. That'll copy the image. And then you'll drop it in by hitting Control-V. The image should be imported. Now I'm going to do it with a sample image I have here, just so I'm not giving you all the answers. I'm going to hit Control-C, come over here and click Control-V. Now at the top of the screen, you'll notice there's a ruler. But the problem is we're expected to make sure that the image is 14 centimeters across, and inches and centimeters are not the same thing. So how can we do that? Well, you can go to File, head down to Language, and select English UK for United Kingdom. When you select that, you'll notice the ruler at the top of the screen changes to metric. So now we need to make sure that our image is exactly 14 centimeters across. We can do that by selecting the image by clicking on it and grabbing a hold of one of the corners to resize. Now as we do this, you'll notice that the aspect ratio is locked, so as we shrink the width, we're also shrinking the height. And we're going to stop it when the vertical line is right in line with the 14. So you can see here that the top left corner is directly under where 0 is, and the top right corner is directly under the 14. So next we need to determine the distance between the centers of each of those circles. Now there's a couple ways to do this. If you'd like, you could just measure using a line by picking the estimated center to the estimated center, taking that line bringing it to your scale and seeing that in this case it seems to be about 3 centimeters apart. Or if you want to get a more accurate reading, you can go to your shape tool, find a circle with a cross in the middle, and then overlay the circle on top of your existing point, and then you could see the center of the circle is now marked for you. I could just copy and paste that, Control C, Control V, to get another one, and then you could base your lines off of that. So here's our line again, and then I could take this and place this again at the 0, and you'll notice 3 centimeters. Now, when you're measuring the distance between the two spots of melted cheese, they're vertically placed, one directly above the other. So I'm going to simulate that here by having my two spots here and here. Now, when you draw your line from here to here, let's say, how can you measure the length of this line using a horizontal ruler? Well, you can't because it's vertical. So what do you need to do? If you right click on it, you have an option to rotate and then rotate 90 degrees. And then you could take that, and the distance between them vertically would be just over, I don't know, what would that be? 3.6 centimeters. So as you can see, measuring distances between spots on digital imagery is not all that difficult as long as you know how wide the image should be. So use Google Drawings and make sure that you convert that top scale to be in centimeters, and I think you should be all right. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.